What's up guys, Mitch from Respect My Region back with another video peddling my thoughts to you. Today I want to talk about what cannabis brands can learn from Jay-Z's career. Now, over the years, I've been to countless dispensaries and cultivation brand facilities, and I always ask them, what is the thing that separates you from the product next to you on the shelf or the shop right down the street? There's three common things that I've heard over the years. I used to turn to my video guy before we go to these facilities and say, watch, they're gonna say one of these three things, if not all three things, and they usually said all three. You know, the first one used to be when you think of, we think of our brand in the future of when you think of legal cannabis, you think of us. Now, I used to hear that a lot, 3 to 5 years ago. I hear a lot less of it now because I think people have understood how big of a task and scale that is. If that's still your goal, dream big, speak it into existence. I just don't hear that one as much. But dispensaries almost always say bud tender education is what differentiates them from the person down the block, and the person down the block says the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. They say it, they don't necessarily live it with action. But the third thing that is very common amongst cultivators and dispensaries is they say, we want to play a role in breaking the stigma, or we want to break the stigma. And so today, what cannabis brands can learn from Jay-Z's career is breaking the stigma. And some people might not get that at first, but Jay-Z was vocal in like the late 90s, early 2000s. He's not a big talker. I don't even know if he's on social media. And so he didn't talk about this very much, but if you watch interviews or have been a fan of Jay-Z over the years, like myself, he has definitely brought this up, that there is an age limit in hip hop. When rappers get to a certain age, they lose their relevance, and for whatever reason, mainstream America, pop culture doesn't really have a place for rappers of a certain age. And I get that. It's called hip hop. You think hip, popular with the youth. It's definitely the music of the youth culture. And when you get to a certain age, you no longer have relevance with that youth culture. I get that argument. But hip hop is still, I believe, the biggest genre in the entire world. And when we look at artists like Willie Nelson, like he's literally going to tour until he's 1 foot in the grave, both feet in the grave. He's still probably going to be touring. Like Dave Matthews is still at a super old age, still does a lot of concerts. Tom Petty, R.I.P., but he was able to play very late into his career and hold just a hyper relevance that we haven't seen in hip hop. And Jay-Z was very critical of the culture itself, the genre, a bunch of different reasons of why that was. But anyways, in breaking, he had spoke pretty often about breaking the stigma and its impact on the genre as a whole. Not breaking the stigma for personal gain or his personal brand, but breaking it for the genre at large. It benefits everyone within that ecosystem. And he's done it. Jay-Z's 50 years old. He's unanimously known as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And he's not just the greatest of all time because of his career and these accolades. He's still, he just dropped a verse a couple days ago that went crazy on the internet because of his lyrical ability and his talent. And not, this hit that he did 20 years ago is still getting plays. He has those songs and he's still doing current things at the age he's at. I saw him at Key Arena, to a sold out stadium 2 years ago, like 48, 49 years old, rock the show by himself. It was crazy. It was surreal. And never at a point was I like, man, this guy is too old. Like, he really successfully broke the stigma, which is a huge thing. And it's like, how did he break the stigma, right? It wasn't something that he did speak about in interviews, but it wasn't something that was a part of his branding or he was speaking about very often. It was something he did with action. He was very strategic. Jay-Z's always been strategic with his releases, with his marketing, with his other companies and endeavors. But when he got to a certain age and realized, and again, this is me, just my thoughts from afar. When he got to a certain age, he figured, I'm a little too old to be on Instagram and gonna be relevant there. Like, I'm not gonna be relevant there, where everybody was running to Instagram and people would tell you, you're not relevant if you're not on Instagram, let alone you're not a relevant rapper if you're not on Instagram. Jay-Z didn't go there. Granted, his status didn't necessarily require him to go there, but to prolong his reign at the top and to acquire a new audience, you think Instagram was the obvious place for any brand or artist to go. He chose not to go there. He stayed in his lane, created these businesses, made these moves that kept his name relevant at a very, very high level. And then when he came through and did music, he could simply just talk about the things he was actually doing in his everyday life. And it was at a flex so much higher than what any other rapper was saying that was on Instagram showing money all day in and out, that it held Jay-Z, like his lyrical ability was still held in high regard. What he was saying was truthful and rooted in facts. And it was just, you know, in hip hop culture, the stunt, the flex, it's a big deal. He's done that at a level that no one else has surpassed. And, you know, even when you look at relevance and doing what he's done for his brand, you know, Spotify was the clear winner in the streaming world. Apple Music is right there behind it. He took all of his music off of both platforms and started his own platform. Again, something on paper that seems like one of the dumbest things you could do if staying relevant is your goal. Yet he was able to do that and form it in a way to where it added to his accolades, it added to his persona, it added to his relevance. Again, he's made these moves in his career where he has gone left when everyone else went right. And without saying something, hey, this is what I'm doing, hey, look at me, I'm doing this, he's just gone out and done that. And so there's gonna be a lot of ways for the cannabis industry to break the stigma around cannabis. It's clearly been broke significantly over the last 10 years, even more significantly over the last 5 years, and even this last year with how many states are coming online, the stigma is breaking, and we are still in a super immature market. We still have a long ways to go. But for brands that want to be on the precipice of breaking the stigma, I want to tell you right now, and you can look at Jay-Z's career as an example, it is absolutely nothing to do with what you say in terms of saying, I'm breaking the stigma, we're breaking the stigma, look at us, we're breaking the stigma, here's what we're doing, it's breaking the stigma. You could acknowledge the stigma, but let your actions speak for you. Let the audience that you capture speak for you. Grab that audience through awareness, cultivate and nurture that audience over time and add to that audience and grow and mature with the audience and the marketplace it is. And also do not be afraid to go left when everyone else is going right. And again, back it up with action, not just saying you're doing it.